Now we have the lodgepole pine beetle in the western regions that have wiped out these whole monocultures. They are paying tree planters to go and collect seeds from the wild resources in the forest. So we're actually able to replant a bit of a diversity.
There's also groups that are looking for the state plantations, especially I work so out west there's a lot of groups that are actually working towards buying these portions of land and allowing them to never be logged. So there are plantations that are over 100 years old that still have not been pulled down. They're allowing chaos to be introduced into it so that they're creating lots. I mean, that would never happen if they trees.
You're right. And the thing is I've watched this. I'm now 27, and there's still some trees that manage to plant themselves that are only this tall. So there isn't much of an ecosystem there. But I think techniques like the one we're looking at with the seed balls this afternoon, which were developed by Masanobu Fukuoka for reforestation of degraded landscapes, are much, much more appropriate than tree planting. But also there's tree planters that are also planting diversity too. They have not just one type of tree, they have a couple different types. And they don't plant in straight lines, they have a regulated distance that they can plant. So it is getting better, but I'm saying that when we don't focus on a particular ethic and we don't make that the goal, the transition and the approaches that we take are very slow steps that don't get a lot done. I mean, we want small and slow solutions, but we have to rethink the ethic of what our approach is. So I'm not saying there's a real problem with the tree planters and the reforestation. I'm saying that the main problem is in deforestation, right? We also need to make the best out of what we do in our efforts to reclaim these lands and make them naturally productive. And it's also really important for us to think, if we think about deforestation in the world, what comes to mind as a huge area that's being deforested? Amazon in Brazil, right? And so what are the leading causes to that deforestation?
To plant soya.
To pardon?
To plant soya.
No, well, the deforestation, sorry. What are the causes of the deforestation? For food production, exactly. And what food production are we generally growing? We're growing fast food. Oh boy, I need to talk to you. We're growing, well, essentially it's for cattle, right? For grazing systems for cattle. That was the leading cause to the deforestation in the Amazon, but now there's debates over whether it's the organic production of soybeans for the new vegetarian markets that is actually causing more deforestation than the conventional farming, or the farming of cattle now. So in our solutions that we find in this world, we have to make sure that they actually answer the problem and not get a halfway or a less bad solution, right? The reason that we all get our organic tofu from the Amazon is because 90% of all soybeans in Canada and US is genetically modified, and that means it can't be considered organic. So we need to really think, we need to step back a couple degrees and look at really what are the cores of these problems and what do they really mean for our society. Not saying that it's wrong to eat tofu and soy products, but when we're causing more deforestation than the original problem we were trying to stop, then there's something really broken in that system. And generally, the cause of that is the economic profitability of cutting the Amazon to plant soybeans or cutting the Amazon to raise cattle. It's that economic ethic that is the fundamental flaw still. So in this image, what I find is really disturbing to me is not so much the pollution, but this boy here who seems more disturbed by us taking a picture than what he's swimming through, which means that this is normalized to them. And that really bothers me. That is what really bothers me. This is not a unique occurrence. We look at the Pacific trash dryer. We look at these systems in the world. You can take a sample of water from the ocean and there's 7 times more particles of plastic than there is plankton, and they're at the same size, which means that a whale goes to take 1 bite of plankton and gets 7 of plastic. It's really huge problems in the world. So we've got pollution. You guys probably can't see all this detail, but we've got pollution of the water. We've got pollutions of our soil, and we've got pollutions of the air. So there are many, many problems in this world, and I'm sure that we can all just go home and turn on the news to hear all about those. So let's stop talking about those, and let's think about what we can do. So are we all there? We realize that the ethical system that we've used today to get us where we are is fundamentally flawed, and that we need to refocus and redesign our approach. We're all there? If not, we can always discuss afterwards. So from there, we need to think about what is being done. What are the solutions? because there are solutions. There are fundamentally incredible and empowering solutions that are happening all around the world. And to just name a few, we think about some of the things that are happening in other nations around the world. So China is set to overtake the US in green technology research very, very shortly. I didn't have the date on that. It's changing rapidly. Bolivia has the best recycling system in the world. Brazil has the world's most sustainable public transit system in the world. Eritrea has transformed its impoverished desert communities into lush mariculture. Mariculture being aquaculture with seawater. And so what do we have in common with all of these nations? Third world nations, right? I prefer to term them as emergent nations because really they're leading the design revolution. They're looking at the problems because they face them every day. Canada is very luxurious and lucky because we have such an abundant resource, but it's almost a cursed blindfold on us because we have such a buffer to all of these changes and problems that we don't see them in time to react in advance and be a leader and protect our ecosystem. We're kind of sitting back because we still have the choice to act, whereas really the world does not have a choice. And so it's really important to think about these. Bolivia's system is so incredible because they pay for all of the recycling. So people who have no job will go and clean up a city or route through a landfill before recycling was established and pull out all of the recycling and bring it back just to get a bit of money to eat. In Brazil, they have a simple system, really, really simple. When you're getting on the bus and you're late for work, what is the first thing that kind of irks you? I don't know, for me it's when I get there and there's somebody counting out dimes to pay in the meter and we're like, I'm gonna miss my metro, I'm gonna miss my train, what is going on here? And it drives me crazy and ruins my day. So in Brazil, they have enclosed bus stations where you pay to get into the little waiting station. And once the bus comes, everyone files in because they've already paid. And so it has reduced the traffic waiting time by only a second or two at each stop, but in the long run has sped up the whole system. And they also have dedicated traffic lanes for buses and carpooling. So those two things has made their transportation system the most sustainable in the world. In China, it's illegal to get a plastic bag for free. You don't pay 5 cents or 25 cents to slow it down. It's illegal to give away a plastic bag for free, and you pay at least, I can't remember what the base rate is, but there's a base rate for every other ones, right? Here you may be charged 5 cents in some stores or 25, but you can still get them for free quite often. And Eritrea, they have used, it was the desert, actually this is a desert nation that if you follow our human evolution back to it, is where we stem from, is where they can trace the evolution of early primates to this area. And